And what began on a sun-drenched afternoon or Friday afternoon in April ends on a overcast 2+ hour rain delay thriller at Citizen Bank Park. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Phightins Final here on the Edge of Philly Sports with your boy, Matty B. Coming at you on the tail end of a interesting, active sports day here in Philadelphia. Phillies and Braves just wrapping things up at the bank. Phillies fall to the Braves 8-7 in 11. In a game that saw everything. It really did. It was a game that I think a lot of people going into this day it was kind of like secondary on their plate, as obviously the Eagles being the number one draw in town at this time. But this game took center stage because of that epic 2+ hour rain delay. Folks, we haven't had many games kind of altered by weather this year. There's been about a handful of them. I think the teams only actually had 2 games rained out all year. And we've had a few very minimal rain delays. But when we've had rain delays, they've been epically long. And this one was no short of that. And a game that went back and forth all afternoon. Kyle Gibson came in, and we thought we were going to get the upside of Kyle Gibson because that's what he was due for. Not the case. Not a good outing for Kyle today. Got hit hard often. Really not making much of a case for his future in this rotation, especially into the playoffs, as we are starting to kind of get things configured. He lasted 5. I don't know how he lasted 5. I mean, he lasted 5 because I guess we gave him some offense on the other side of it. You know, he was getting shelled, but we were definitely doing some of the shelling as well, as we were kind of keeping Kyle in this game. But he just was not on all day. You can't have a performance like that from a pitcher, especially in a game that really meant a lot for this team today. You know, being that it was the final home game and all. Phillies will finish the 2022 home part of their schedule at a modest 47-34. A lot better than I thought it was going to be, actually, since the well-documented struggles of the Phillies at home. But 47-34 will be your final home regular season record for the Phillies in 2022. And now it's on to our final day off of the regular season, which is tomorrow, and then to a 10-game, unprecedented 10-game road trip to finish up the season. Places like Chicago, Washington, D.C., and Houston. The Phillies will finish up things. And as they move through this, playoffs are still in the balance. It's a back and forth between the Padres. The Brewers are staying within arm's length. The Phillies' magic number is 8 now because of the Brewer loss, but it's still, wasted opportunities when you have a game in which the Phillies should have won. They battled hard in this game. The rain delay came. It came back, and then it was a bullpen game, and from there the Phillies fell short. They fell short. And Dave chimes in with another long Sunday at Citizen Bank Park. Tough loss today. Yeah, but Dave, you know what? This is how I wanted to see the final home game of the season. Not loss-wise, but epically long. I'm sure the people that lasted all game long didn't want to see it end because maybe a lot of them are thinking this to be the final time that I'll be here until next year. Hopefully that's not the case. But I think there's probably a lot of nostalgia going on at the ballpark tonight. Let's move on to the line, shall we, and get this thing over with because I hate talking about losses. For the Braves today, 8 runs on 11 hits. They did have an error. Phillies 7 runs on 10 hits. No errors. How it all happened, as mentioned, Kyle Gibson struggling from the very beginning. Travis Drummond, the catcher, would get things going for the Braves in the first as he would knock in Michael Harris with the double. And then Matt Olson would then double in Travis Drummond again to get 2-0 Braves heading into the bottom of the first. But then the Phillies got things right back even as they had a great inning, a epically great inning. Kyle Schwarber got things going with the homer, lead things off 2-1 Philly or 2-1 Braves. Alec Bowman then knock in Rhys Hoskins a little later in the inning to make it 2-2. And then Gene Segura would fielder's choice in Bryce Harper a little bit later on to make it 3-2 Phillies heading into the second. But Danby Swanson would knock in Eddie Rosario to tie things up at 3. Then here we come. Here come the Phillies again. Kyle Schwarber in the bottom of the third, a 2-home run day for Schwarber. We'll get to him in a second. 4-3 Phillies. And then Swanson would make it 5-4 Braves as he would homer into deep center to make it 5-4 heading into the fifth. And then the Phillies would tie things up in the bottom of the fifth on the Bryce Harper sac fly. And then they would go ahead on the Alec Bohm sac fly to make it 6-5 coming out of the rain delay. It would stay 6-5 to the eighth, and the Philly bullpen came up very small. Contreras would score on a wild pitch, and then Acuna, the Philly killer himself, in the top of the 10th or top of the 11th, would knock in Heredia, making it 7-6, and then Michael Harris would follow that up, knocking in Acuna to make it 8-6. Phillies would get one run back in the bottom of the 11th. JT would knock in Brandon Marsh, but that would be all for the Phillies today. 8-7 on the offensive side. On the individual front, Kyle Schwarber, I'll give it to him when it needs to be given, and today it needs to be given. 2 for 3 with 3 runs, 2 RBIs, and 2 home runs. He walked twice and did strike out once though. Nick Maton 0 for 1 late. Rhys Hoskins was 2 for 5. Bryce Harper 0 for 2 with a run. He had an RBI and he had 2 walks. Alec Bohm 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Brandon Marsh 3 for 5 with a run. And that was pretty much your numbers, guys, for the Phillies. I am going to give my offensive player of the game too. I'm going to give it to Kyle Schwarber. He deserves it. For the Braves, Dansby Swanson would finish 3 for 6 with 3 RBIs and a homer. Travis Dearmond would be 2 for 5 with a run and an RBI. And then Eddie Rosario 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored as well. On the pitching side of things, Kyle Gibson, as I mentioned, did not pitch well. 5 very shaky innings, 7 hits, 5 runs. They were all earned. He walked 2, but he did strike out 9. He was working that, but just couldn't get out. He couldn't get that big pitch. Nick Nelson, Jose Alvarado, David Robertson, and then Sir Anthony, Zach Eflin, and Bellotti would come on in. Obviously, Bellotti got touched for the major, the 1 inning of work, 3 hits, 2 runs. They were earned. David Robertson also gave up a run, and basically Robertson and Bellotti are on the hook tonight. Sir Anthony pitched well or a lot better in his relief appearance tonight, and that's a positive sign. Charlie Morton didn't fare much better than Kyle Gibson. 4.5, 6 hits, 6 runs. They were all earned. He walked 3 and struck out 4 and walked 3. Chavez, Lee, and Iglesias and Jansen and Stevens pitched lights out for the Braves late in this game. Stevens will get the credit for the win. He's 3-2. On the loss, we'll go to Andrew Bellotti, 4-4, folks. And there you have your final home game at Citizen Bank Park in 2022 regular season. 8-7 Braves. And Jordan says, at least we won the first. So, yeah, and as I said this before, if we were sitting here, if you would have told me back earlier in the week that on Sunday, we would be no better than a split or no worse than a split, I'd take that. I'm going to take that over the Braves. I will, because right now it's a numbers game. Right now we just can't get swept. Right now we got to play 500 ball. We just got to maintain. We got the lead. We got the cushion. Got the tiebreakers. We just got to maintain and get to the playoffs. Obviously, winning that division is over with, but we just got to maintain to get to the playoffs. So the push is on right now. It is, and you just can't have epically bad stretches of ball, and that's what the Phillies got to stay away from. So a split, I'll take. Don't like it. I really think the Phillies should have won this game, but I'm going to take it at this point. I got a bigger prize in mind coming up here in the next week or so. Scott and Verling both over 5. Ouch. Absolutely, Dave. Absolutely. But Kyle Schwarber, man. Huge day, 2 home runs. Little pop in his step today, a little pop in that bat. There was some drama there in the first inning when the Braves reviewed it. Was it a fair or foul ball? Clearly it banged off the foul pole. Clearly a fair ball. But, if we can get, because obviously we got Rhys Hoskins kind of swinging a better bat lately. And if we can get Kyle Schwarber to come out of his season-long slump, and, I got it, 42 home runs. It's nothing to shake a stick at. I'm not saying that. But, boy, would those 42 home runs look better around 6 or 7 in our lineup than at first in our lineup? Because when I look at a leadoff hitter, I look at a hitter that hits above average, 285, 290, puts everything on the ground, legs stuff out. Kyle Schwarber is not a leadoff hitter. And it's not a knock on him. It's just who he is. He's a hitter that belongs deeper in our lineup, gives him more opportunities when he does hit those home runs for more RBIs. So I'm going to give him where I can give him, but I'm just not liking the leadoff position for Kyle Schwarber, and I never will. I don't care what you tell me. I never will. But a good day for Kyle today. A huge day for Kyle. And now as the Phillies get ready to hit out on the road for their final 10 games of the season, obviously Nick Castellanos is due to come back. A lot of unanswered questions for the Phillies heading into the final 10 games of the year as we start positioning ourselves for the wild card, for the playoffs, starting rotation, starting lineup. A lot of these questions are going to be answered over the next 10 days and whatnot, but the home schedule is over, man. And that's sad. Regular season schedule is over for home games. It's sad. It sucks, man. It really does. Let's go ahead and check the out-of-town scoreboard. As mentioned, the Reds were able to hold on today and beat the Brewers 2-1, thus pushing the Philly magic number to 8 to get into the playoffs. And then the Padres were all over the Rockies 13-6. So no ground was gained there. And we actually lost some ground. I believe now we're down back to a half a game behind them, or a game and a half behind them, whatever. So that's where you have it, folks. That's where you have it. Dave says off the plate of Cubbies. Yep. Tuesday, the Phillies will resume their season. Final day off of the regular season tomorrow, and then they will finish it out the next 10 days consecutively. Chicago, Washington, and the Astros to wrap up the season. Actually, no, I think they have a day off coming on a Thursday. I think tomorrow's their final Monday off of the season, of regular season. See this? Nope. That's it. Tomorrow's their final day off of the season. So they will finish out the year over the next 10 days starting on Tuesday. And we'll be there to cover it. So from me to you out there, I hope you enjoyed the 2022 regular season home schedule. It was fun. We had some great moments. We had the Angel game where they came back not once but twice to win it on walk-off style. We had that funky game against the Dodgers where they won an extra innings on a crazy error. You had the resurgence of this team, after the firing of Joe Girardi as they went on that big homestand and just kind of played themselves back into contention. You had the Angel Hernandez strike zone game way back then in April against the Brewers. What else did we have that we could talk about? You had Noah Syndergaard's debut as a Philly in the middle of a lightning storm to kind of usher in his Thor second personality. Just had a great season. Just had a great season full of some great memories. And I enjoyed covering it, and I enjoyed bringing it to you throughout the year. And as we move on to the final portion of the regular season, obviously we got more baseball to play, more things to talk about. This team is what it is. And as Al and me were talking the other nights, it's playoff baseball, and this type of baseball it is. We gotta hope that we get that hit. We gotta hope that we get our batters and our hitters back into playoff form, so to speak, and then we can push this thing hopefully as far as it takes. Because once we get to October, folks, it is a whole new season, and everyone is 0-0 and all that, and it's all good in the hood. So let's pay some bills. Oh, that's not the bill slide. There we go. This is last week's slide, folks, so please forgive me. But don't forget, coming up here later tonight, all lacrosse all the time, Philly Lacrosse and Beyond here on EOP. Then tomorrow you get the Sully Squad, and then, yeah, the Sully Squad and a couple other shows. Forgot we had Monday Night Football last week. So just be on the lookout. There's some really good shows coming up. And for those of you who had a great time today down in D.C., all the, 1,200 of you that went, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And, of course, if there was any issues or if there's any issues for any of you, don't forget Dave Cherry, 610-565-0300, Workman's Comp, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, or criminal law. Tell them that the boys at EOP sent you. And to Philly Sports Trips, who, by all reports, pulled off a great, great trip today, as we definitely took over FedEx Field in a rout of the Washington Commanders, 24-8. Don't forget, there's more of the same thing of today over at phillysportstrips.com. Go ahead and check them out. And if you're in the Delco or Delaware County area of southeastern Pennsylvania, make sure you stop by the only bar, Dolan's Bar and Grill. And that's going to wrap me up, folks. But we're going to go out like we go out every week. Even though it's on a loss, we're still going to go out like we go out every week. And that is the week that was in Philadelphia, Philly home runs, the final home edition, regular season home edition of the week that was in Philadelphia, Philly home runs. -1 home run. I don't have the JT homer from earlier in the week. I'm missing one of them, so I apologize for that. But here's 99% of them from the week that was in Philly's home runs. Till we talk again on Tuesday night from Wrigley, take care.
Here's Alec Boehm. Lifts it high in the air, center. Harris back, track, wall, gone! Harris leaping, couldn't get it, and Boehm ties it with a homer to dead center field. 1-1 in the sixth as Alec Boehm unloads his 12th homer of the year.
That's how you break up the no.
2-2. Hit well to right. Acuna back, looking up, and it's gone. Opposite field home run for JT Realmuto, and the Phillies with 2 outs here in the ninth get the homer from JT to keep this game alive. It's now.
We hope that he is feeling better. 0-1 pitch. Guthrie lifts one out toward left field. Tapia is going back. It is gone! Dalton Guthrie's first major league home run comes here in the bottom of the 5th inning. It's a 7-2 game. And that ball is drilled deep to right off the Toyota side, a 3-run home run. It's 14-10. That one's pulled deep to left field. It's going to go. It is gone. And the Phillies are on the board. It's a 3-1 game to start the bottom of the 8th inning. JT's 21st home run of the year. And a high fly ball to deep left field. Towering home run. Rhys Hoskins. 2-run shot. Wow. And the Phillies are now up 6-0. That's 300 extra base hits. That one's out to left. No worries this time. It is gone. 2-run home.